So welcome to all of you, Shiksha 360, and today basically we have to discuss BFA MCQ series set number 17, clear set number 17. And that is set basically related to the chapter number 6. And in this session, basically we have to discuss questions from 225 to 242, clear? From 225 to 242, clear? So let's start our discussion. So first question basically presents on your screen. So now basically, what is that? Political uncertainty in a country leading to fall of the government. Clear, basically it is a risk for the counterparty. Clear, basically what type of risk? Clear, that is political uncertainty in a country. Clear, leading to fall of the government. Like basically you will see that basically before sometime basically I think 7 to 8 months ago, this happened basically in the Afghanistan. I think in the month of January or February. This happened in the Afghanistan basically when Taliban takes control over the Afghanistan. Clear, basically when the Taliban takes control over the Afghanistan. Clear, basically when the Taliban takes control over the Afghanistan. Clear. So this question I have already discussed in the previous session also. So basically political uncertainty. Clear. So basically it is a risk for the counterparty. Clear. Basically it is a risk for the counterparty. Like basically there is a party in the another country. Clear. So that is basically due to any mishappening in the country. Clear, basically due to any mishappening in the country, the business is going to be down. Clear, the business of that particular party is going to be down, or basically the payment will not be done on the time. Clear, or other thing basically we can say that the payment will be not done on the time. Clear. So that risk basically it is known as political risk, country risk, credit risk, or forex risk. Clear, credit risk or forex risk. Clear. So that is basically known to be as the country risk. Clear, that risk basically it is known to be as the country risk. Clear. So option number B is the correct answer. That is basically due to the basically political uncertainty in a country. Clear. Basically for other party basically it leads to the country risk. Clear. So option number B is the answer. Clear. Please take care basically while answering these things. Clear. I have already discussed this question in the previous session also. Very, very important. Clear. Sometimes basically we will face these issues. Okay. So please remember. Now move to the next question. The risk. This question basically one student asked me again. Clear. That basically he is not able to understand. Clear. The risk that the seller faces relating to the non-acceptability, non-payment, or quality acceptance, etc. Clear. So basically, the seller is selling the things. Clear. The seller is selling the things, but but to whom the person is selling. Clear. Basically, he is not accepting. Clear. Non-acceptability, non-payment, or quality acceptance. Clear. Second one, that is accepting the thing, non-accepting. Clear. Not accepting. Second one, accepting the things but not do the payment. Clear. Third one is quality acceptance. Clear. Accepting the things, but they say that basically you are giving 100 rupees per piece, but I will give you 90 rupees. Clear. The quality is not up to the mark. Clear. So all these allegations. Clear. So all these allegations basically it is raised by the buyer. To whom? Basically to the seller. Clear. So that all risk basically led due to the buyer. So option number A is the answer. That is the buyer risk. Clear. That is a buyer risk. Clear. Please remember that. Clear. Some student even confusing why it is not as a seller risk. Clear. So I will discuss in detail now. This is known to be as the buyer risk. Clear. This is known to be as the buyer risk. Please remember all these points properly. Now move to the next question. Which of the following events are not for the causes of the shipping risk? Clear. Basically which of the following events basically are not the causes for the shipping risk? Clear. Are not the causes for the shipping risk. Clear. First one is negligence by the handling agent, negligence by the port authorities, non-performance by the local transporter, or none of the above. Clear. Or none of the above. Clear. Which of the following events are not the causes of the shipping risk? Clear. First one, negligence by the handling agent. Clear. This is one of the reasons. Negligence by the port authorities. This one is also one of the reasons. Non-performance by the local transporter. This is also one of the reasons. Clear. or non-performance by the local transfer, or we can say that even loaders or even loaders, etc. Clear? Basically, which may lead to delay or non-shipment of goods in time. Clear? So these all are the causes under the shipping risk. Clear? These all are the causes basically under the shipping risk. A, B, and C are to be correct. So option number D is the answer. That is none of the above. Clear? That is none of the above. Clear? So this one is the answer. That is none of the above. Clear? So please remember these things properly. Clear? So please remember these things properly. Now move to the next question. For country risk classification. Clear? Basically for country risk classification, EGC has a dash fold classification. Clear? Basically covering more than 200 countries. Clear? So how many fold classification? Clear? Basically how many fold classification? Yes, you are right. That is, it is a 7-fold classification. Clear? So basically, as on 31st March 2017, how many countries basically adopted this one? Clear? Basically how many countries basically adopted this one? This risk classification. Clear? As on 31st March 2017. Clear? Like now presently basically there are 237 countries. Clear? Presently basically there are 237 countries. Clear? But as on 31st of March 2017 basically 217 countries. Clear? Basically 217 countries as on 31st March 2017. Clear? Basically as on 31st March 2017. Clear? And some countries are placed in restricted group 1, restricted group 1, and some are placed in restricted group 2. Clear? Some are placed in restricted group 1, basically some are placed in restricted group 2. Clear? So basically there are some other conditions regarding that basically which I give you basically in the form of the question. Clear? Regarding these things. Clear? Basically what is a restricted group 1, what is a restricted group 2, and which countries basically we have to include under that. Clear? And which countries basically we have to include under that. Clear? So please answer these questions also. Clear? So please tell fast how many of you remember that restricted group 1 and restricted group 2. Clear? Like under the restricted group 1 basically revolving limits are approved by ECGC. ECGC valid for 1 year. Under that basically how many countries are to be placed? 15 countries. In this basically 5 countries. Okay, so please remember all these things. Clear? So please remember all these things. So now move to the next question. For which country classification ECGC approves the revolving limit basically for 1 year? Clear? For which country classification basically ECGC approves the revolving limit basically for 1 year? Clear? I think I have already discussed. A option is very high risk, B option is low risk, third option is a restricted cover group 1, D option is a restricted cover group 2. Clear? So basically for which country classification ECGC basically approves the revolving limits basically valid for 1 year? Clear? So option number C is the answer. That is a restricted cover group 1. Clear? That is option number C is the answer. That is a restricted cover group 1. Clear? That is basically for that ECGC basically approves the revolving limits basically for valid for 1 year. So option number C is the answer. That is restricted cover group 1. Clear? So option number C is the correct answer here. Now move to the next question. Which of the following risk basically it is not covered by the ECGC? Clear? Basically which of the following the risk basically it is not covered by the ECGC? Clear? So now basically we have to understand basically which of the following risk basically it is not covered by the ECGC. Clear? So now let's discuss basically which risk are to be covered. Clear? One by one. Clear? One by one. That is basically buyer risk. Basically we have what? Buyer risk, it is covered under that. Seller risk, it is covered under that. Next one, shipping risk, basically it is also covered under that. Credit risk they will cover. So this one is not our answer. Legal risk, basically they can cover. Okay. Next one is country and political risk, basically they can cover. Operational risk, basically they can cover. Exchange risk, basically they can cover. Clear? So all these risks are to be covered. Clear? Basically, which risk is left? Operational risk, it is covered by ECGC or not? Yes, basically it is covered. It is comes under the international trade. Clear? Basically it is comes under the international trade. Clear? So basically they will cover that also. Political risk, it is also covered under that. Operational risk, basically it is also covered under that. So what is the answer here? Please tell fast, basically what is the answer here? So option number D is the answer here. Clear? Basically we have already discussed and in the part 1 all these risks one by one. Clear? You can check the part 1 video. Clear? Basically all these risks basically we have to cover. Clear? So option number D is the answer. That is the commercial risk. Clear? That is the commercial risk. Clear? I have written here all the risk: buyer risk, seller risk, shipping risk, credit risk, legal risk, country and political risk, operational risk, exchange risk. All these risks are to be covered by the ECGC, and only one risk is left here, basically, which is not covered. That is the commercial risk. Clear? That is the commercial risk. Clear? So please try to remember these points. Clear? That's why I have specifically said yesterday that please do revision. Clear? Basically, please do revision. Otherwise, it is very difficult for you to answering the question in the examination. Okay, now move to the next question. Packaging credit insurance, PCI. Clear? Basically, packaging credit insurance basically may extended to banks. Clear? Basically, packaging credit insurance basically may extended to banks, covering. Clear? Basically covers. Clear? Basically what it covers. Clear? Packaging credit insurance basically that is what it covers. Clear? Basically what it covers. All packing credit advances basically made by the banks. All packing credit advances basically which can be notified to ECGC. Third one is all packaging credit advances basically sanctioned by banks basically within its discretionary limit. Fourth one is all packaging credit advances basically with sanctioned by the banks basically with the prior approval of ECGC. Clear? Basically with the prior approval of ECGC. Clear? So please tell fast what is the correct answer. Please tell fast. Please tell fast. So basically it covers all packaging credit advances basically sanctioned by the banks within its discretionary limit. Clear? Many students are answering. Clear? This is, you can say, right, that clear, even if it is not in its discretionary limit. Clear? Even if it is not in its discretionary limit. Clear? So for that, basically they have to take an appropriate approval. Clear? Basically for that, basically they have to take the approval of the corporation. Clear? So basically even if it is not in the discretionary limit, for above basically they have to take the approval of the corporation. Clear? Approval of the corporation. Clear? So we cannot say that basically option number C is the correct answer. Clear? Option number C is not the correct answer, because even if it is not under the discretionary limit, just they have to take the approval. Clear? Regarding that basically from the corporation. Clear? So the correct answer, that is basically all packaging credit advances basically made by the bank. Clear? So this one is the correct answer. That is all packaging credit advances basically made by the bank. Clear? Basically made by the bank. Clear? Journal, basically we can say that this one is the more correct one. Clear? That is all packaging credit advances basically made by the bank. Clear? I have already tell you why option number C is not the answer. Because even if it is not in its a discretionary limit, basically they have to take the approval of the corporation for the same. Clear? They have to take the approval for the corporation. Clear? For the same. Okay. So now move to the next question. Question number 232. A bank has extended a foreign currency loan. Clear? Basically a bank has extended a foreign currency loan basically to its customers. Clear? The bank has basically extended a foreign currency loan basically to its customers and have obtained export financial guarantee of ECGC. Clear? Basically export financial guarantee of ECGC. Clear? So the premium is to be paid in which currency? Clear? The premium is to be paid in which? In US dollars, in Indian rupees, currency in which a loan has been allowed, or in any foreign currency. Clear? Or in any foreign currency. Clear? So a bank has extended basically foreign currency loan to its customers. Clear? Basically to its customers and have obtained. Clear? Basically and have obtained export financial guarantee of ECGC. Clear? Basically and have obtained basically export financial, that is overseas lending. Clear? Guarantee of ECGC. Clear? So the premium is to be paid in. First one is US dollar. Second one is Indian rupees, or third one is that is basically currency in which a loan has been allowed, or fourth one is basically in any foreign currency. Clear? In any foreign currency. So basically in that case, clear, we have specifically discussed that is basically under the export finance overseas lending guarantee, the premium is to be paid. Clear? The premium on such type of guarantee basically are to be paid basically in the Indian rupees. Clear? Are to be paid in the Indian rupees. Clear? So option number B is the answer. Clear? Option number B is the answer here. That is the premium is to be paid basically in the Indian rupees. Clear? Now move to the next question. ECGC covers country risk of countries listed under restricted group on a case by case basis. Clear? That is basically on a case by case basis. It is basically comes under the restricted group 2. Clear? That is basically restricted group 2. Clear? So what is the period of validity? Clear? So what is the period of validity of in case of export turnover policy? Clear? Basically what is the period of validity basically in the case of export turnover policy? Clear? So what is the period under that? Clear? Option number A is 1 year, option number B is 6 months, option number C is 2 months, or option number D is 1 month. Clear? Of countries basically listed under restricted group. Clear? On a case by case basis. Clear? So what is the period of validity? Clear? So basically they are asking the period of validity basically specifically in the case of export turnover policy. Clear? The period basically they are asking basically specifically in the case of export turnover policy, 1 year, 6 months, 2 months, or 1 month. Clear? So the period here is to basically 1 year. Clear? So option number A is the answer. That is the 1 year. Clear? So option number A is the correct answer. Now move to the next question. Question number 234. Clear? Question number 234. Clear? So export turnover policy may be availed by the exporters. Clear? Export turnover policy basically may be availed by the exporters who are likely to pay annual premium to ECGC. Clear? Basically who are likely to pay annual premium to basically ECGC at least to the extent of. Clear? Basically who are likely to pay annual premium basically to the ECGC at least to the extent of rupees 10 lakh, rupees 20 lakh, rupees 25 lakh, or option number D is none of these. Clear? Or option number D is none of these. Clear? So export turnover policy basically may be availed by the exporters who are likely to pay basically annual premium basically to the ECGC at least to the extent of rupees 10 lakh, 20 lakh, 25 lakh, or none of these. Clear? So option number that is option number A is the answer. That is rupees 10 lakh. Clear? Option number A is the answer. That is rupees 10 lakh here. Clear? So option number A is the correct answer. Now move to the next question. Export credit insurance is extended to banks. Clear? Basically export credit insurance basically it is extended to banks to cover finance extended against. Clear? So export credit insurance. Clear? Export credit insurance basically it is extended to banks to cover finance basically extended against overseas receivable, stock in trade, export incentives, or option number D is all of the above. Clear? So option number D is all of the above. Clear? So what is the correct answer? Clear? Export credit Insurance, basically it is extended to banks, clear, to cover finance. Extended against, clear, basically to cover finance, extended against overseas receivables, stock in trade, export intense incentives, or option number D is all of the above, clear. So option number D is all of the above, clear. So what is the correct answer? So basically, according to me, basically what is the correct answer? That is option number A, that is overseas receivable, clear, that is export credit insurance. Basically is extended to banks, basically to cover finance, basically extended against. So if they are specifically mentioned, basically that is in international. So basically we will go with this one. And according to me now here, basically all of these, clear, that is no, sorry, not incentives, not stock. So option number A is the correct answer, clear. Option number A is the correct answer. That is basically overseas receivables, clear. That basically they have to see from the overseas, clear. That is basically they have to see from the overseas, clear. So according to me here, option number A is the correct answer, clear. If anyone basically say that basically there is another answer, so you can give your explanation basically according to that. Basically I will check and update you regarding that, clear. Now move to the next question. A bank has issued, clear, basically a bank has issued an overseas bid bound guarantee, clear, basically a bank has issued basically an overseas bid bound guarantee basically to its client, clear, basically bank has issued basically an overseas bid bound guarantee basically to its client. Appropriate financial guarantee of the ECGC basically for this purpose, clear. So which ECGC guarantee, clear, basically we have to utilize basically for this specific purpose, clear. A bank has issued an overseas bid bond guarantee basically to its client, clear. So appropriate financial guarantee. We have discussed that basically what are the financial guarantees, clear, basically ECGC basically issued to the exporters or financial institutions, clear, basically exporters or financial institutions, clear, basically generally they issue how many types of the guarantee? That is basically 6 types of the guarantee, clear. So basically among that, basically they are asking basically for one guarantee, that is a bank has issued an overseas bid bound guarantee to its client, clear. So appropriate financial guarantee basically of ECGC basically for this cover will be export finance overseas lending guarantee, export finance guarantee, export performance guarantee, or export performance indemnity, or option number D that ECGC does not cover such a transaction, clear. Basically ECGC basically will cover such type of transaction and it will cover under the export performance indemnity, clear, and it will cover basically under the export performance indemnity, clear. So option number C is the answer, that is export performance indemnity. And basically a bank has issued an overseas basically either basically we can say that bid bound or bid bound guarantee, or we can say that performance of contract, or quality, clear. So all these comes, clear, basically all these comes basically specifically under that, clear. And all these things basically are covered basically the financial guarantee of ECGC basically, that is export financial indemnity, clear, that is export performance, or not financial, that is export performance indemnity. So please tell fast basically up to this much point basically it is clear to all of you or not? Please respond fast basically up to this much point it is clear to all of you. So the last question basically which we have to discuss today, this is the last question, 237. It is the last question of our today's session. So ECGC of India basically classifies the country basically into 7 categories, clear. I have discussed all these categories, clear, in the previous session in detail, clear. So in that basically C2 indicates, clear, basically in that basically C2 indicates, clear, basically what C2 indicates: insignificant risk, moderately risk, high risk, and very high risk, clear. So I have already tell you, clear, basically from where basically we have started, that is basically from the B1. Above that basically B, A2, A1, B2, C1, C2, D. So what is the B2? We have started from the B2, that is moderate risk. Clear? That is moderate risk. This one is to be moderately low risk. This one is moderately high risk. Low risk. If it is low risk, it is high risk. Insignificant risk or negligible risk, very high risk. So here basically they are asking basically C2. What C2 indicates? That is high risk. Clear? So option number C is the answer, that is high risk. Clear? So basically ECGC of India basically classifies the country to 7 categories. In that C2 basically includes high risk. Clear? C2 basically includes high risk. Clear? So I request to all of you, please remember these chart. Just you have to start from the B2. That is moderate risk. Above that moderately low risk, and below that basically moderately high risk. Above that basically low risk, below that that is high risk. Clear? And above that basically insignificant risk, and below that that is very high risk. So these are some of the important terminologies basically which you have to remember that. Clear? Basically which you have to remember that is very, very important for the examination point of view. Clear? So in this session basically I have to discuss up to this much point. 5 to 6 questions basically are left in this session basically, which I will include in the next MCQ discussion. Clear? Of chapter number 7. Clear? So I request all of you, please do revision. Clear? There are some specific points basically in this chapter basically which you have to just revise. Questions they will ask on the basis of that. Like basically what are the policies extended by the banks to the exporters, basically extended by the ECGC. Clear? To the exporters and to the banks. Clear? These are very, very important for the examination point of view. Clear? So thanks to all of you for joining this session.